Okay, so we'll welcome everyone to today's July 26th meeting of the South Sacramento Conservation Agency Joint Powers Authority, and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Good morning, members. Member Santu?
Here.
Member Gatewood? Member Frost?
Here.
Member Kennedy?
Here.
Member Natoli? Member Cerna? And Chairperson Budge.
Here. Thank you.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's go ahead, and since the agenda has the Pledge of Allegiance on it, let's do that. I have a flag, and we'll ask Director Frost to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Whenever you're ready, Sue.
Sorry, I thought I had my voice on. At this time, I'd like to invite anyone who can to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
I believe Member Natoli has joined the meeting now.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Great. Welcome.
Good morning.
And I do have a statement to read.
Please.
In compliance with the directives of the county, state, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, this meeting is live streamed and closed to in-person public participation. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. To make a verbal comment at today's meeting, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. When the chair opens public comment for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter, callers will be transferred from the queue into the meeting to make a verbal comment. Written comments are always accepted. Send your email comment to boardclerk@saccounty.net. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Alma. Will you announce the first item, please?
Item number 1 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the executive director of the South Sacramento Conservation Agency to execute the Second Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement at Gale Ranch.
Thank you. Kim?
Yes, on June 22nd, 2020, a purchase and sale agreement was approved to amend the existing 160-acre conservation easement to include approximately 2,000 acres with an acquisition of 960 acres of valley grassland and approximately 50 acres of vernal pool. That agreement was then amended January 25th of 2021 to exclude areas already subject to a conservation easement and part of an existing mitigation bank. And this resulted in modification of the acquisition area to approximately 160 acres of valley grassland, and again, a little over 50 acres of vernal pool. This amendment would further reduce the easement area. However, the acquisition essentially remains the same. I think it's now at about 165 acres of valley grassland and 50.08 acres of vernal pool. I think what is easy to get confused here is that originally the easement area was proposed to be much larger than the actual acquisition area. And the agencies expressed some concerns about having these overlapping easements. So this is our response to the agencies, that the conservation easement will only include those areas not already under conservation easement, so nothing will be overlapping. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Would you remind us of the relationship of the Gill Ranch to the Van Black Ranch?
The relationship there is that the Van Vleck acquisition was occurring first, and then the Gill Ranch acquisition is basically the second acquisition. We are just completing the second acquisition at Van Vleck Ranch, which positions Gill Ranch to move forward.
But they are adjacent to each other.
They're very close to one another, yes.
Okay. Are there any questions? Hearing none, we're ready for a motion.
I move the item. Natoli.
Thank you.
Any second?
Thank you very much. You'll call the roll, please. Somebody. Alma, do you want to call the roll?
Sorry, I was muted. Member Santu? Member Frost?
Aye.
Member Kennedy?
Aye.
Member Natoli?
Aye.
Member Cerna? And Chairperson Budge?
Yes, thank you very much. Motion
Members-
carries.
Did you forget me?
I did not. I called you. What is your vote, sir?
Did you call me? I don't hear my name.
Yes.
My vote is
Would you
yes,
like to
but I don't hear my name.
Thank you. Okay, I'll make sure to be clearer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it is unanimous. So will you announce item 2, please?
Item 2, adopt a resolution authorizing the executive director of the South Sacramento Conservation Agency to execute the easement and maintenance agreement for Ogden Ranch drainage facilities and trail. And I just wanted to make a note for agenda item 1, there were no public comments, written or verbal.
Oh, good point. Thank you. Okay, so we'll remind everyone that this one is at the southwest corner of Bradshaw and Vintage Park Drive, and ask Kim for a staff report.
Sure. This is related to the Ogden Ranch Preserve. A mitigation fee escrow agreement was approved August 7th, 2018, actually predated the adoption of the plan. And that agreement provided for the dedication of a 32-acre preserve on the property. As part of the project approval, a trail to be constructed in accordance with the provisions in the South Sacramento Habitat Conservation Plan is planned to go through a portion of the preserve along Laguna Creek. And additionally, it was necessary to build some drainage facilities in the preserve area. This agreement will allow for the construction and maintenance of both the drainage facilities and the trail, since the preserve area is now owned by the South Sacramento Conservation Agency. And does anybody have any questions?
Is this something that needs to be signed by all 4 parties?
This is going to be signed by, let me see here if I can find the agreement.
Or-
This is going to, yes, I should say yes. It's going to be signed by Southgate Parks and Rec because they have a portion of the trail. It's going to be signed by Woodbury folks that are actually the home builders. It was Silverado, now Woodbury. They are going to sign on both their behalf and on behalf of the homeowners association.
Okay.
So yes, it does require all of those signatures.
Okay, super. All righty. Are there other questions? Are we ready for a motion?
I move the item. Member Natoli.
Thank you. We need a second.
Kennedy second.
Thank you, Patrick. Alma, call the roll, please.
And there are no public comments for this item, either written or verbal either.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Member Sandhu,
Aye.
Gatewood, Frost,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Natoli,
Aye.
Cerna, and Chairperson Budge.
Yes, thank you. It's
And the motion
unanimous.
carries. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Member Kennedy was unsure if I have your vote as yes on the recorded, so I just want to make sure that I do have a vote for item number 1 for Member Kennedy. Yes.
Yes, you do. And Alma, you need to recognize that this director has a bad sense of humor.
Sorry.
Oops. As in bad or wicked?
Wicked.
Wicked, yeah, I thought so. Okay, call item 3, please.
Item 3 is the analysis of a possible donation to the Wildlife Care Association.
Kim.
Yeah,
This
so at our previous hearing on May 24th, Supervisor Natoli asked me to look into the possibility of the South Sacramento Conservation Agency providing a donation to the Wildlife Care Association. So I did look into that, and unfortunately the way our program is set up, the fees were adopted as part of the Mitigation Fee Act, and so we're extremely limited. We can only spend funds as they are allocated and looked at in the Nexus study. So unless we have the Nexus study has evaluated that potential and whether there's a nexus between the work the Wildlife Care Association does and the agency's work, we would be unable to provide funding to that organization at this time. So does anybody have any questions about that?
Don, do you want to comment?
Yes, thanks, Linda, Madam Chair. I want to thank Kim for her certainly, diving into this and the information she brings back. I would just, and again, I understand, the currency of what you've determined thus far, but I do think, as I said at the last meeting, and appreciated the willingness by my colleagues to have you take a look at it, Kim, that as we, see, mitigation for aspects of development and, road building and construction and so forth through the ACP over the, period of time which this agency is entrusted with the responsibility, that part of the impacts are encroachment on, not just protected habitats, but and forage areas for certain, species, but, just on, a lot of the native species that may not be in danger, but certainly are going to feel the effects of encroachment. And the wildlife care does the rehab, as well as, rehoming and returning animals to habitats. And I think it could be a real, natural partnership over time. Granted, there needs to be, some sort of a nexus that would provide for funding. So I guess what I would just like to say, Madam Chair, to my colleagues is that at some point in time, the nexus is going to be updated, I would trust. And if we could make sure that this item gets flagged, if it may not occur, obviously, in the, ensuing months, but over time, because I think that there's a, value, not only by this particular, organization, there may be others that do certain species rescue and so forth, but this one, in this county and certainly the communities it serves, they serve all of the unincorporated and incorporated communities. Doesn't matter where the animal comes from, they'll take it in and do their best. And so whether it's, songbirds or, other birds of prey, but certainly, everything from raccoons and possums to quail and pheasants, and you can just go down the list. So at any rate, I appreciate the work that Kim's done, certainly to answer the question, but I do think it's one that will maintain its currency, and I would like to, flag this. And I don't know if you're keeping a list, Kim, that will be there for institutional reference, but I think this is worthy and, worthy of a a much deeper dive at the appropriate time when we look at the nexus, whenever that next is. So
Sure.
yeah.
Anybody else want to comment? I would comment, Don, that I agree with you. And actually, when the HCP was put together, there was so much emphasis on aquatic species and the special studies that were done for that. But for instance, just over the weekend, one of our residents who lives along the American River had to rescue a baby possum that had fallen off its mom and gotten lost. And trying to find a place to ultimately take it, if need be, is difficult. People go online and they search for that kind of thing, and not everything shows up. But that story had a happy ending. Mom possum actually came back and claimed the baby. But after a weekend of being warmed and fed the appropriate kind of whatever, and then put out back, and Mom came back and found it. So that was a good story. But you're right. In terms of whether it's avian or wildlife on the ground, there's no question that it's all interconnected. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comments. No, I concur with you wholeheartedly. And again, the critters, they get encroached on, and sometimes, you can save these lives. They also, if they're hurt or injured or whatever, they know the appropriate outlets to and then they work to bring them back to the wild. So assuming that they can be released without being endangered because of their if they were clipped wings or whatever. So at any rate, thanks for your comments, Linda. And I know that our animal control agencies work with wildlife care and transfer some of the animals that come in through that portal, but people can take animals directly to wildlife care, and they're open weekends as well. So I think there's ways to maybe build a partnership here that over time, does accomplish what the agency is charged with, but also may allow even some of those animals to be returned to areas that are preserved and are habitat and open areas for all kind of creatures. So.
I agree. It makes much more sense to take them out to someplace that's already preserved rather than someplace it may not be.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to the executive director's report. Oh, actually, Kim, so probably, I think Don started to mention it. This is something that would be added to the list to look at in the Nexus when it gets updated, like the very small acreage applications. So this would be number 2 on the list, probably.
Yes.
Great. Okay, your report.
Preservation area update. So we now have 2 fee title properties, the Ogden Ranch, which we just talked about, and also the about a 50-acre preserve at the Arista del Sol project. I'm also working with the Cordova Hills to finish the dedication of the on-site preserves. Those are hardline preserves for the Cordova Hills project. So I've been meeting with them and kind of working out what steps we need to do to make that happen. And we also have some Gill Ranch. We've talked about that one, so that will be moving forward. And we also have the Mahone Ranch, which is another dedication that we've approved, and still need to put the easement on that property, so we're working on that. So I think the establishment of the preserve system is moving along. We also have the ranch property in fee title. We've approved that agreement as well. So I think at the next meeting, I'd like to bring forward to you kind of a map with everything we've accomplished for the preserve system, and you can see where everything is happening.
Good idea.
Reporting status, the annual report for the inland fee program, that's complete. The annual report for the HCP required a lot of maps. So we just completed the first draft of all of those maps. And so I'm going to work on, I needed the maps before I could finish the report. So I'm going to work on that, turn my attention back to that report now that I have all those maps completed. So that's where we are with that. Agency coordination, we've had a meeting with the permittees, I think it was last month, and I'm going to work on making sure we have like a quarterly meeting with the permittees and the agencies as well to discuss any implementation issues that are coming up. And our next meeting is scheduled on September 27th, 2021.
Wonderful. Questions for Kim? Okay.
Thank you for all your hard work, Kim. This is Sue.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Let's see if anybody else has any other comments. Director Santu?
Thank you, Kim. Working hard. Thanks.
Director Kennedy?
Thank you. No comment.
Were we joined by Director Cerna? Or
No,
Director?
Director Terry, I believe, is on, or I thought I saw him, but he must have left the meeting because I don't see him on the list anymore.
Okay.
And we did not have any public comments for item number 3 or 4.
Okay. All righty. So I see we do have a couple members of the public. Is there any public comment at this time? Anybody who wishes to discuss something that was not on the agenda?
No
Okay.
public comment off agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you. So hearing nothing, then we'll say good meeting, everyone. Thank you very much. And we will see everyone back in September.
Thank you.
Meeting
Thank
is
you.
adjourned.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.